Al Sharpton just made a terrifying announcement about 2020 run for president. Just when you thought the political arena couldn't get any crazier, along comes Al Sharpton. The Reverend Al Sharpton, who is one of the most visible figures of the Black Lives Matter movement, always seems to pop up to profit on a social justice agenda. Now, he's emerged once again, and this time with a statement that most conservative Americans do not want to hear. Sharpton was in Florida last weekend, where he spent his time orchestrating protests against Florida's Stand Your Ground laws after the death of Markeis McGlockton. McGlockton had allegedly attacked another person who KD'd him during the incident, having feared for their life. McGlockton's Kr was not arrested since it was determined to be an act of self-defense. Sharpton was on the scene of that protest and has since announced that he's not ruling out a presidential run in 2020. Trending: Trump gets last laugh after City of West Hollywood votes to remove his star from Walk of Fame. Here is more via the Washington Free Beacon. MSNBC host and civil rights activist Al Sharpton said in a new interview he won't rule out a run for president in 2020, adding he isn't currently mounting a bid. "I never rule anything out," Sharpton told BuzzFeed News. The progressive firebrand and outspoken critic of President Donald Trump ran for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2004, although it was viewed as more of a stunt than a serious attempt at the White House. He also ran previously for U.S. Senate and New York mayor. Sharpton was a strong ally of President Barack Obama and said he would never use his MSNBC platform to criticize his administration. Sharpton, who has known Trump for decades as a fellow fixture of New York, has blasted him as racist. If Sharpton did take the plunge in 2020, he would likely join a crowded field of candidates. Among those rumored to be considering or actively considering a run include former Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, I, Vermont, Senator Kamala Harris, D, California, Senator Cory Booker, D, NJ, Senator Elizabeth Warren, D, Mass, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, D, NY, former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz, former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, D, and former Attorney General Eric Holder. A spokesperson told BuzzFeed Sharpton's civil rights organization, National Action Network, is focused on turning out voters for the midterms, where Democrats have their eyes on taking back at least the House of Representatives. Sharpton has hosted MSNBC's Politics Nation since 2011. The show aired weeknights until 2015, when he was pushed to just Sunday mornings. Sharpton, of course, has been highly critical of President Donald Trump for who knows what reason. He even went as far as to call the president a racist at the Sunday rally because Trump stumped for Republican Congressman Ron DeSantis of Florida and didn't mention McGlockton's name. But the Reverend didn't stop there. He also criticized Pastor Darrell Scott, who back on August 2rd referred to President Trump as the most pro-black president that we've had in our lifetime. He also argued that black ministers were cowards for not bringing up McGlockton's name when they visited the White House that day. He later added, "I won't bow to Pharaoh, and I won't bow to Donald Trump." If Sharpton were to actually run in 2020, he would join a crowded Democratic primary. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, and former Vice President for Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden are just a few high-profile Democrats who have hinted to date about running for the Democratic Party presidential nomination in hopes they can take down President Trump. This isn't the first time Al Sharpton has run for public office. He ran for the Senate 3 times in the 1980s and 1990s and the presidency in 2004. Obviously, he lost every time. Here is what Al Sharpton was saying about 2020 just 2 months ago via The Hill. The Reverend Al Sharpton reportedly said Wednesday that President Trump is set to win re-election in 2020 because Democrats are too tame to deal with an untamed opponent. Sharpton told The Guardian during a visit to the United Kingdom that Democrats likely to face off against Trump in 2020 are failing to excite opposition to the president. He said a lack of leadership would lead to a bad result for Democrats in the midterm elections and noted that mobilization is needed for a landslide win. They've lost the ability to dramatize, Sharpton said. He understands spectacle and drama and they don't. Sharpton said that Democrats should be deliberately getting themselves arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement over the current controversy concerning the policy of separating migrant parents from their children at the border. What was the civil rights movement if not drama? Martin Luther King was the master of street theater, Sharpton